How we doing, vinyl community? Hope everyone's well. Mr. Boulder here. To this week's video is a subject that's doing the rounds at the moment about your most expensive items as listed on Discogs. So I've decided to jump on that train. I'm going to do my top 25 albums, most expensive according to Discogs today. Yeah, thanks for everyone who watches, likes, comments, subscribes, all that kind of stuff. Thank you very much appreciated. So yeah, top 25 albums according to Discogs. Let's make a start. Number 25 is Metallica's And Justice for All. Killer album. My very first Metallica album. Absolutely love this. Blackened, the title track, Shortest Straw, Harvester of Sorrow, Delivers to Die, Dies Eve, etc., etc., etc. Fantastic album. This is OG Press from 1988, 2 LP set. Love this album. Brilliant stuff. First one with Jason Newsted. And the most this has ever sold for on Discogs is £101.32. When I grabbed this, I'd never seen it before, so I can understand why this is quite pricey because, yeah, I'd never see originals. So that's 25, Metallica's And Justice for All. Bit surprised that this one is on there because it's quite readily available, but there we go. Number 24. And again, it's Metallica and it's Master of Puppets, an OG UK press here from 86. There's the back. As far as I'm concerned, one of the best metal albums ever made. Absolutely essential. For me, this is probably the best thrash metal album ever. Everyone knows the title track and stuff like Sanitarium, but for me, some of the deeper cuts are where it's at. Disposable Heroes, Damage Incorporated, Battery. Fantastic stuff. Brilliant stuff. Yep, this one has gone for £101.64 on Discogs for some reason. Must have been sealed or fully signed by the band, or, probably got Cliff's signature or something. But yeah, a great album. That's number 24. Number 23 is Kix' Hotwire from 1991. I grabbed this years and years ago, and glad I did because never seen it since. So it's obviously quite hard to come by. Kix is a band I've not seen shown loads in the VC. Great hard rock glam metal from back in the 80s. Yeah, this one from 1991, really, really good album. Don't think it did much, unfortunately. It was at the point where the arse was about to fall out of the whole hard rock glam metal sort of scene. But a really good band, definitely worth checking out if you're not familiar with them. And this is a great album. Kix' Hotwire from 1991, and this sold for, again, £101.74. Expensive stuff. Number 22, Pantera's Vulgar Display of Power. Don't really know why this is on here, to be honest, because this is not an OG press. I could understand it if it was an original. This is a reissue from America from only a few years ago. 2 LP set, fantastic album. Probably the album of the year for me from 1992, or maybe Rage Against the Machine's debut. That's a killer album as well. But this is great stuff. Brilliant, absolute classic metal. Everyone knows this album if you're into metal. Can't say any more good things about it. It's just absolutely fantastic. I'm sure you're familiar with it. A fantastic album, and this one sold for £102.59. Don't know why. Cost me about 20 quid, but great stuff. Number 21. Now this is a rare one. Lynch Mob self-titled album from 1992. I got this, and I got a lot of albums back in about 2000 from Andy's Records in Norwich. This isn't the last album that you're going to see from this batch that I picked up back about 20 years ago. Brilliant stuff. This is, of course, George Lynch and Mick Brown, who were in Dokken before this. Dokken split, went their separate ways, and George formed Lynch Mob along with Mick Brown. Fantastic hard rock, heavy metal. If you like your hard rock from back in the day, this is absolutely killer stuff. You've got to check it out. There's fantastic songs on this. Jungle of Love, Tangled in the Web, no good. Cold is the Heart, yeah. Heaven is Waiting, I Want It. Brilliant stuff. Yeah, I was really lucky to have this. Never seen it since. Never saw it before. A fantastic album. I could understand why this is in the top 25 because very sort of rare to come by. And this one sold for 103 quid. Great stuff. That's a Lynch Mob from 1992 and their self-titled second album. Some death metal now. Deicide Serpents of the Light from 1997. A great album. I love the fact that this is really raw sounding compared to Once Upon the Cross that come before this, which is a great album. But the production on this is really, really raw compared to Once Upon the Cross. This is killer death metal. The title track is one of my favourite death metal songs. It's just so brutal and nasty. You've got on here other really good stuff. Yeah, Bastard of Christ, another fantastic song. Blame It on God, Slave to the Cross, Believe the Lie, etc., etc. Really, really good. This is a reissue from 2011, I think. And it's a really, really good album. Again, this one doesn't pop up often. And this one was £105 the most it's ever sold for on Discogs. So that's that. Deicide Serpents of the Light. Excellent death metal. Number 19. This has recently been reissued, but this is an original press of Machine Head's Burn My Eyes. As far as I'm concerned, the only Machine Head album you need. I heard the two that came after this, and they were just not even close to being as good as this. When this came out in '94, these guys were absolutely everywhere. Saw them at Donington in the following year, 1995, and they were fantastic. Seen them a few times over the years since, and like I say, not really kept up with their output at all, album-wise. But live, they still know how to bring it. This was a really important album for metal back in '94. Metal was really on its arse at the time. Grunge and alternative was king. And this was the definite shot in the arm that metal needed. A great album, worth it for Davidian alone. The opening track, absolutely amazing. Everyone knows that song. Fantastic stuff. An OG press from 1994. Machine Head's Burn My Eyes. And this sold full maximum 111 quid. Up next, one of the most important albums to me ever. Megadeth's Countdown to Extinction. OG press, UK press from 92. Outstanding stuff. I know for a lot of people this is when they sort of went off Megadeth for a bit, because this is very commercial compared to what they've done before. But a very important album for me. I know this record like the back of my hand. Every song's fantastic. Great production from, I think it's Max Norman. Whole record sounds fantastic. Musicianship's great. Never seen this since I picked it up, and I never saw it before, and I didn't pay a lot for this. I don't understand how I got it so cheap, really, because it has sold for 113 quid. I paid 15 for this. I mean, it's not immaculate, so no doubt that's why it didn't cost too much, but it's certainly not in crap condition either. Great album, that is. Megadeth's Countdown to Extinction. Number 17 is Black Sabbath's Headless Cross. Tony Martin on vocals. Picked this up about a year ago. Good album, this. I think the Tony Martin era doesn't quite get the recognition it deserves, but still very good. Definitely worth having in your collection. Worth it for the title track alone. This came out in '89. Nice piece to have in the collection. And this sold for £112. Headless Cross from Black Sabbath from 1989. Number 16, no idea what is in here because it's everywhere. Deep Purple's Fireball. Classic hard rock from back in the day. This was released around about 71, 72, I think. Good album, love me a bit of Deep Purple. Still putting out good stuff to this day, and have been going about 50 years now. Great stuff. This one sold for, at some point, £114. I got this for about £8. Beast of an album now. Exorder's Slaughter in the Vatican. This is really hard to come by. I picked this up at a record fair a few years ago. Definitely an influence on Phil Anselmo. You listen to the vocals that Phil's doing, Cowboys from Hell. He was definitely influenced by Kyle Thomas on this album. This is a great piece of thrash metal with some groove in there, you know. Some people argue this is the album that started groove metal. There's some groove to it. For me, it's more of a straight up thrash album. This is also really hard to find on CD. I think you'll be looking at spending at least £30 to find this on CD. Slaughter in the Vatican from 1990. Great pickup. And at some point this sold for £115. I paid about 30 for this. Yeah, still trying to get the CD, but not easy to come by at all. Not for a decent price anyway. Number 14 is an absolute pile of shit. Def Leppard Slang. This is a terrible, terrible album. So you're probably wondering why you got it. The reason was, when I bought this, there was a sticker on the front saying there's a skip in track 4. So it was saying it was scratched, basically. Yeah, I only wanted £4. I thought, do you know what? It's a rare one to find. So I'll grab it anyway. And if it's scratched on one track, I don't really mind so much. However, I put it on the turntable. There's nothing wrong with it. It plays absolutely fine. So I picked this up for £4. And at some point on Discogs, sold for £118. So I got myself an absolute bargain there. This album, though, is absolutely terrible. A couple of good songs, but the rest of it is just absolute nonsense. This came out in 96, so yeah, Def Leppard's sort of good time hard rock was very much dead in the water. Grunge and alternative was king. New metal was starting to poke its head through. This is the Leps trying to do something a bit different, and it just doesn't work. It's not a good album. If it wasn't for the fact it was only a few quid, I would never have bought it. Yeah, because when I picked up, I thought, let's give it another try. It might be better than you remember. No, absolute crap. Number 13, another one I don't understand why is on here, because it's quite readily available, but here's Venom's Black Metal. An incredibly important album. You know, this one pretty much, or maybe not this, maybe Welcome to Hell, but that pretty much kicked off the whole black metal thing. Definitely a blueprint for extreme metal. There's the back. Venom, never the best band, but they influenced a hell of a lot of people. I remember seeing an interview with Abbott from former Immortal and now solo artist, and he said for years he wanted to be a Gene Simmons from Kiss, and as soon as he saw Venom, he wanted to be Kronos. That's how important they were. You know, just if you were sort of a teenager at the time, this was just simply going to be the most evil thing you'd ever heard. Oh, I love this. Like I say, they're not the best band, but very, very important, especially as the whole extreme metal genre. I got this for £15, I think it was, and on Discogs it was sold for £119 at some point. Very important album, Venom's Black Metal. Number 12, from 1992, is Ugly Kid Joe's America's Least Wanted. I love this. Yeah, 92 was a big year for me. I really, really got into music massively. Tongues firmly in their cheeks all the time, you know, not being super serious at all. But a good band. Everyone knows everything about you from this album, but stuff like Neighbour, So Damn Cool, Busy Bee, it's got loads of good songs on it. It's far from essential, but it's a good album. And yeah, I saw this and I couldn't whip it out of the crate fast enough because you just never see it. You know, once you get to sort of 1992, maybe 91, finding albums is not easy because CDs were king at this point, and to find records from the 90s, from 91, 92 onwards, you don't see them very often. So I was happy to grab this when I did. And at some point on Discogs, this sold for. Lost my bit of paper. No, I haven't. It's on the first bit. £121. Number 11. No idea what this is on here. Sex Pistols, Nevermind the Bollocks. An absolute classic album. If this was a really early press from back in the day, I can understand why it sold for so much. But this is like a Back on Black reissue from about 2014. Classic album. Love me a bit of punk, and this is amazing. I know every song on this, like the back of my hand. Brilliant stuff. And this sold at some point for 126 quid. No idea. Paid about 20 for it. Great album. Nevermind the Bollocks, Sex Pistols. Some classic punk here from the UK. Right, top 10 now. Another one I don't understand why it's on here, because it's quite readily available. Slayer's Rain in Blood, absolute essential thrash metal. Released in 1986. You know this album, obviously. Absolute crushing album. Absolute classic. It just rips through in about 26, 27 minutes. And it's absolutely essential. Killer thrash metal from over in California in the United States. This one's not in great condition. But at some point this sold for 130 quid. Obviously it was an absolute mint copy that must have sold for that kind of money. But I didn't spend too much on this at all. But an essential album for your collection, nonetheless. Number 9, I was surprised by this. But it's the Cult's Love from I think 85. Yeah, don't know why this is on here. This is an Australian pressing. Yeah, love me a bit of the Cult. They're a really good band. Everyone knows She Sells Sanctuary from this album. But there's other really good stuff on here as well, like Nirvana, Sister Moon, Black Angel. Good stuff. Love a bit of the Cult. But yeah, I'm surprised this is on here actually and so high up. And at some point, this was sold for 132 quid. That's the Cult's Love from 1985. Number 8, another one I'm surprised by. Murder in the Motive, Those Damn Crows. I love this band. They're pretty new. Only been around about the last sort of 5 years or so. This is out on Earache. Seen these guys live a couple of times. I've only got a couple of albums out. But good stuff. You know, hard rock from over in Wales, here in the UK. And at some point on Discogs, this one sold for 135 quid, which is amazing because I picked this up for about 20. So, yeah, there we go. Murder in the Motive by Those Damn Crows. I can understand why this one's here because this is proper rare. Danger, Danger, Screw It from 1991. This was another one I picked up from that hall in Norwich back in about 2000. Their second album, good stuff on here, like Slip to the Big One, Monkey Business, Can't Wait on Love, stuff like that. Yeah, never seen this before or since. Not the best album, but it's still a pretty good one. Yeah, definitely the tail end of the glam metal movement, though. When you hear stuff like I Still Think About You, a really lame power ballad. You know, power ballads have had their day by this point. But not a bad album at all, actually, this one. Can definitely understand why this is on the list, because never ever see it. And at some point this sold for 135 quid. Up next is an album that's literally just been reissued. I think it was last week. But this is an OG press from 1995. Paradise Lost, Draconian Times. 2 LP set. I think this is on Music for Nations. Paradise Lost were absolutely massive back in 1995. I remember hearing Icon in 93, and that album was absolutely everywhere. And this was exactly the same when this came out, you know. The music videos were all over everywhere. A great band, I think from Halifax here in the UK. They were absolutely on top of their game when this came out. And after this, they kind of went down a bit of a Depeche Mode route, I think. And the popularity just nosedived massively. It wasn't the best change of direction. But this and Icon are fantastic albums. Their early stuff is proper sort of full-on death metal. So if you like your really heavy stuff, you might want to check some of those out. But this is a great album. Yeah, 2 LP set, original press. And at some point, this sold for 135 quid. Into the top 5 now. Vince Neil's Exposed from 1993. Another one that came from that hall in Norwich. A fantastic album. For me, this is the last time Vince sounded really good vocally. He's never sounded as good since. This, if my memory is right, has got Steve Stevens on guitar. I think he played all the bass on this as well. Steve from Billy Idol's band, of course. Great stuff. Yeah, again, never see it. It's a great album. I really, really like it. I've only ever played this about twice. I've got the CD, so if I tend to listen to it, I usually listen to the CD. But this is really good. Vince from 93, and this sold for £144. Yeah, can understand it. Never seen it since. Expensive record. Number 4, no idea what this is on here because it's absolutely everywhere. Dio's Dream Evil, great album from 87. I think this is the first one he had Craig Goldie on guitar. He replaced Vivian Campbell. Classic heavy metal. Not much to say about this one. At some point this sold for £153. Paid about 8 quid for it. Top 3 now. This is a game changer of an album. Fear Factory's Demanufactured from 1995. An absolute beast of an album. One of the most important metal albums of the 1990s as far as I'm concerned. And very, very lucky to have an original press of this. Definitely something different when this come along. This is the first time I heard someone do the real sort of harsh vocals and then just do completely clean singing. I had never heard that before. It was completely new. Burton C. Bell sounds even more brutal on the debut Soul of a New Machine. The death grunts are proper low, and then, you know, the real sort of proper singing. Not quite as harsh the vocals on this, but still pretty harsh, and I'd never heard anything like it. A vocal style that's been absolutely copied left, right and centre since metalcore hit around about 2004. A fantastic album. Every song is great on this. Production's brilliant. Everything's great. Great songs. Great production. Yeah, it's absolutely brilliant and absolutely essential, and I'm very, very lucky to have this. And at some point this sold on Discogs for 154 quid. Number 2, Pioneers of Extreme Metal. This is an original press of Celtic Frost's Morbid Tales. Brilliant stuff here. Very, very important. Much like Venom, but I think a lot more sort of respected than Venom. No disrespect to Venom, but with regards to you know, the musicianship was much better. Tom G. Warrior, an absolute legend. Great songs on there. Into the Crypt to Raise, one of my favourites. Visions of Mortality, Procreation of the Wicked. These are classic extreme metal songs. This is absolutely great. Again, very, very lucky to have this. At some point, this sold for 176 quid. I didn't pay that much for this, but I don't have the poster that came with it. When I picked it up, the poster was gone. So maybe if it's sealed with the poster, that's maybe why it costs so much. But yeah, Celtic Frost Morbid Tales from about 84, I think it was. Can't see it right now. But yeah, a fantastic record. Really lucky to have that in the collection. Definitely a gateway album for extreme metal. And now my number one, and I'm really surprised by this because I don't understand why it's worth so much money. This is Nirvana's Bleach, but I think according to Discogs, this isn't even an official release, so I'm presuming it's a bootleg. But this is an Australian pressing on blue vinyl. Yeah, according to Discogs, this is my most expensive album in my collection. I paid about 15 quid for this. A great album, no doubt about it. But I'm surprised it's sold for as much as it has. Like I say, I paid 15 quid for this. And at some point on Discogs, someone paid £289, and this cost me 15 quid. For an unofficial release. Crazy. But yeah, that's my number one. So there we go, guys. My top 25 most expensive records in my collection according to Discogs. Right, guys, this video is like 26 minutes long. Thank you very much for hanging around and watching if you made it all the way to the end. Get in touch, let me know what you think, all that good stuff. Cheers for watching, and I'll catch up with you next time. See you later on. Thank you. Goodbye.